So today we'll talk about what is Python. This is what our agenda today, right? So in today's session, we are planning to cover what are the IT job roles which are available for you guys after completing your degree or your program. What are the job area or job role we can go? And apart from what is Python? And what are the roadmap? In Python, if you learn Python, what are the roadmap we can go? And something about Python application and what are the Python IDs we can use and features of Python. And finally, we are having a Q&A session. So in that Q&A, you can ask your questions. So if you have any doubts or clarifications, you can ask in the Q&A session. So what are the job roles available? Or otherwise, what is your future goal? Or after 10 years, I want to be, if you take IT, so this is what the role, right? So there are plethora of job opportunities, right? If you take IT, there are several areas. So if you take this tree or map or mind map, can you see what are the job roles available? In which we have to select one part. Yes, game development. So you have to select one part. So you can be an IT leader. If you take Virtusa, we are having CIO, Chief Information Officer, CSO, CTO, and under them. So we are having different roles. So in the IT company or any company, we are having a top level management. So we are calling them as IT leaders. So as a CTO, CIO, you can be one of them. Or they are having different practices. As one mentioned, he want to be an architect. He or she want to be an architect. So that is another architect. So if you want to be an architect, in architects also we are having different architects, right? In technical architect. So maybe you guys heard about cloud? Artificial intelligence, yeah, that's what. So if you take IT, we are having a lot of areas. In almost in all of these areas, Python plays a major role. So if you pick a Python as a language, you can go a lot of ways. There are a lot of pathways which open for Python development. So if you take Java, in Java, we are having different paths. The same way, if you take Python, we are having some other path. Or if you take cloud, we are having some other paths. So as I mentioned, so architect, or otherwise you can select a DB and you can go for DB administrator or analyst. And we are having some, any project, we are having a project manager. So you can go for that path as well. PM or project manager, those areas. And apart from that, system admin. So we can go that area. So any company, if you select a company, in that company, there must be an IT or IT team or department or network team. So you guys are doing this project or program. In that, you have to do, you must have some laptop for computers. So we must have some network administration team. And apart from that, we are having some other areas, security. If you take about this after the COVID pandemic, what happens? Now, you guys also, I hope you guys also from home, right? You are learning from home. So it's online. So if you take online, there is a possibility for security gap or security breach. If you are connecting through internet, that means your machine's port is open to someone else. So we are having some new, it's already existing also, security part. We are having different security aspects. And apart from that, does anyone know what is DevOps? So DevOps. So in the word itself, it's giving the meaning. DevOps. Dev means development and ops means operations. So if you merge these two things, we are having a DevOps role. And apart from that, we are having business analyst. or business intelligence. So these are the some of the area which we can go in as an IT job, in which you have to, now you are in the second year, now you have to plan. After 5 years or 10 years of time, I will become this job, or I will go to this position as an architect. In architect, which architect you want to be? So that's what I want to give some lightning on those areas. So you can select what is the preferred path or what is the preferred area you can go in your future. So if you take about Python, what is Python? Guys, I took these images from net, right? So these are not my images. So I have to give credit. So I took these images from internet. So you guys also can just go and search. You can get these kind of images. So what is Python? Yeah. Why we need Python? Why we want to learn Python? It's more beginner friendly, yes. Exactly. What beginners friendly mean? Yes, it's easy to learn. So if you take Java, you must know something, right? Because it's a high level program, right? Oh, what is the difference between high level and low level? Little complex than Java, so it can be used in machine learning. Yes, machine learning we can use working hierarchy, kernel, right? So if you take Python, we have a lot of different options. So that's what. So it's a high level language, so we can use to develop for backend things. So what are the tasks? So what we can develop? So these are not main. There are a lot of areas, right? In which, in this mention, right, you can use for web development. So what are the technologies we are using for web development? What are the languages or tools we are using for web? So for the scripting, what are the scripting languages available? Right, PHP, German, Django, right, PHP, JS, right, HTML, fast. So team, Go language. So there are a lot of languages. So Python can be used, J2W, to merge these or in different areas, vast area. If you want to develop web development, you can use Python. If you want to use scripting, you can use Python. What is web scraping? Do you guys know what is web scraping? Did you heard about what's web scraping? Web scraping means, normally if you go for a website, what we are doing is we are downloading that content to our website, our machine or laptop. That's what we are calling web scraping. For those kind of thing, we can use Python. And data analysis. What do you mean by data analysis? Big data handling, web crawlers. Crawlers is a bit different. Person to analyze the data in search for insights. Yes, analyze. Analyzing data to give more processed, needful information. Right. Analysis means now we are having a, let's say, in this training, after this training, Java Institute, they want to get an insight or they want to get an output about this program. Not only this program, let's say they are conducting a lot of programs. After their sessions, they want to get some report, something like that. So what we are doing is, we are having a lot of data. We are storing those data in our DB, either relational or non-relational database. We are storing that in that DB or databases. And we are using some artificial technologies. What we are doing is we are analyzing those data or reports. That's what we are calling is data analysis. For those kind of things, we can use Python. Not only that, automation. So that's what I asked, DevOps. Metadata means normally if you take a website or something, we are having some keywords. So those keywords, let's say if you want to in our website, let's say if you want to filter or SEO optimistic website, let's say if I type Java, my website become, or Java Institute website become first in, it must show in the first in list. So those kind of data we can put into the metadata. And automation, kind of. Automation means something like DevOps. Normally, you guys are developing your programming, or you guys are developing your programming, right? So in that, what we are doing is we are developing our programming, and let's say now you are having a Java application library system, and you are deploying that library system to some libraries, let's say Colombo campus or your campus, right? Java Institute, you are deploying that system as a library system, library management system. And after that, what we are doing is your management wants some changes. So what you have to do? You have to do some changes, and after that, you have to build that one, and you have to go and install that to your machine or that system, right? For that, what we can do is, in that also we have to test whether these features are working correctly. Then what we have to do, we are doing is, we are creating some automation script. Using that, it automatically create that build and deploy to whatever the environment. So that's what we are calling automation. So for that, we are having some DevOps tool. The DevOps is one of that kind of thing. And if you take about Python, a lot of companies use Python. Google, Pinterest, and Dropbox, those of most of the companies, they are using this Python technique. Apart from that, we are having different frameworks. So Jupyter, Django, and Flash. These are the different frameworks we are using. So we'll go for the next slide, and we'll just get some of the what's the difference between these. Both of them are referred to the extraction from the website, right? But this, if you take the software, something such as, how can I say? If you, for this scrolling, we can use some sort of a bot, those kind of things, to get that, to read those data and store that to our website, our machine or something. But if you take the scraping, that also we are having some sort of software which is downloading. So actually scraping, it's basically get the data from, so we are having a data in the website. So we are trying to get the data as a bulk, something like that, set of data we are getting. But if you think about the crawling, let's say if you go for a single page, we are getting that single page total full data. That's we are calling as a crawler. So what are the, now first of all, we just talk about IT pathway. So in IT, we are having different pathway. The same way, if you take talk about the Python, what are the map, or what are the roadmap we are having? Or if you want to go in the Python track, how can we do that? So in this also I took from a web, right? I hope you can see, right? So in Python, if you want to master in Python, we must learn some sort of thing. That's what in this slide shows. So you must know what are the things you must know. It's showing this one, right? So in the yellow color, you must know. If you know this orange, that orange or that color, second one, this is good to know features. And what are the possibilities? So using these also we can do this kind of thing. So if you talk about Python, if you want to learn Python, we must know what are the dependencies which we are having in Python, or we are having different tools or set of tools we are having. and what are the different Python modules if you want to use Python. And not only that, if you take Python or Java or any language, it's not it's not an independent one. We must have other dependencies. We must learn other things also. For instance, if you want to integrate with database, then we must have some SQL or some sort of relevant language or skills. And apart from that, for the development perspective, we must know how this development will. Otherwise, let's say you are creating a login page. So how this, if you want to create a login page, what are the, so in your final project or second year project, did you guys develop any applications using login? How you guys are using for the authentication purpose? What is the technology you guys use? Right? Yes, that's one sort of thing. So you guys, are you guys using Auth2, those kind of libraries, or JWT plugins, or JWT tokens? So these are different authentication methods. Basic authentication or base 64 conversion. If you are guys using password, you guys convert that to another form. Base 64 or the other any other method, hashing algorithms. So those are the basic methods. We must, let's say if I'm learning a language, we must know about that. And apart from that, let's say if you guys are working as a group project, how you guys are sharing your code between your team? GitHub, right? Or GitHub or Bitbucket. So we are having a source control, right? Using that we are sharing. And apart from that, what are the algorithms? So data structures you guys are using. Are you guys using any data structures? So what are the data structures you guys plan to use in your project? So we are having different algorithm, data structures and algorithm. So using that, let's say if you want to sort, you can use, there is a sorting of the bubble sort, or there are a lot of algorithms. So searching, we can use a lot of different algorithms. So those kind of algorithm we can use. So those are basic skills, not only for the Python, for other languages as well. And CLI, what is meant by CLI? Command line interface. So if you are developing any program, command line, you must have some commands. You must know those commands. So using those CLI or interface, you are doing that. And we are having some framework. So you guys told that, right? Django or Flash. Using those frameworks, we can develop different bash or command line. Yes. So using that also, we can. Those are different CLI. So if you take AWS, they are having data AWS CLI. Or if you take Azure, they have their Azure CLI. Or in the Python, we can use different CLI or command line tool. Or in Linux also, they are having CLIs. And what is ORM? Have you heard about ORMs? Using object relations model. So using this object, we can relationally map objects. So let's say if you want to create an SQL code, what we are doing, we have to do it from scratch, right? But using these ORM technologies, we don't need to do these things. We can quickly develop those kind of things, right? And apart from that, as I mentioned, database, they are having different. What's the difference between relational and NoSQL database? Yeah, Hibernate is an example of one of the ORM model. So what's the difference between NoSQL and MySQL? MySQL. Is MySQL is a relational or non-relational? Yes, relational is like table structure. Yes. So we are having a MySQL, so it's a relational. So what we are doing, we are having a table structure and we are mapping that table. Or we are taking our data structure and mapping that to a database. But if you take NoSQL, we are having different Mongo, Redis, so those kind of different database. Using what we are doing, we are having a different database. In that, we are, let's say if you take Google, how do Google search engine work? Are they using MySQL or relational database? No. Yeah, Google has their own Firebase. That's one database. What I'm asking is that architectural perspective. They're using NoSQL kind of database. That's what they are doing is it's something like a tree or map like that. So we are having those big data set. We are mapping using those keywords. So we don't have a table structure for that. So you guys can use. Have you used any Reddish or Elasticsearch, Kibana, those kind of things? Have you know about what is that? So let's say in your database, let's say you are having a database. In that you are, let's say you are having a system. In that system, your manager, or let's say Java Institute, they are telling that you develop your final project. In that, your DB is very slow. Your system is very slow. How can we fast your system? What are the technologies we can use? Caching, yeah, exactly. So Buddhi, that's what we are using. For that caching perspective, we can use Redis or Memcache, those kind of caching as database we can use. For that, what we are doing, let's say whatever the data we are using every time or we are using, then we take those data as a caching mechanism using Redis or Memcache or D or something like that. And apart from that, let's say you develop your system and you face a lot of issues. How you are going to track that issue? Let's say it's in the production. We want to find that issue. Yes, using login mechanism. So for that, we are having a login management system. We are having different frameworks. So Kibana or Logstash, using that, we can track that one. And apart from that, if you want to track, let's say now we are developing a real-time application, something which is similar to, let's say, Uber or PickMe. All right, Log4j. Using that, we can track logins. And if you want to create real-time database or real-time, what is the database? Let's say we are going to develop an application which is similar to PickMe and Uber. Yes, Firebase. Just to see that we can use Firebase. So using Firebase DB, we can store data in the real time. And let's say if you want to connect with, normally, let's say now you're ordering a food using Uber Eats. How you are connecting with your driver or your partner. So what's the mechanism? Now you have to talk with that partner. Let's say you have to chat with them separately. So we are having a thing called socket tie. Using socket connection, we can connect with WebSocket. Using socket, we can connect with real-time communication. And if you want to log using APIs, or let's say if I want to use single sign-on using Microsoft, what is the API we can use? What is the libraries? Or using Graph, GraphQL, we can use to connect with single sign-on or with Microsoft or those things. Or otherwise, we can create some REST APIs. What is mean by REST? That's the difference between REST and SOAP APIs. So these are different technologies we must know in any language. Right? So what we are doing is we have to talk with our client. Or we have what we are doing is we are talking with our clients using APIs. Let's say now we are having a system. Now you want to talk with your client, or you have to talk with your driver or passenger. We can use some REST APIs. Let's say to share your receipt, or you can track, so those kind of thing. Or otherwise, if you want to get that data, or let's say for having a mobile application, you want to send data. Let's say you are having a web application, you have to show data in the website. So we can use REST. And apart from that, let's say if you are developing any application, what we are doing, after developing, what we have to do, after development completed, we have to test that our application. That what we can use is testing framework. So you let's say you can use Cucumber or Java, Selenium, or those are the different framework we can use for different testing. And apart from that, have you worked with microservice? Do you know what is microservice? Do you know in what's that site? Netflix. To load the Netflix film, how many API calls are going underneath? Kubernetes. It's a different Kubernetes. Kubernetes KU, it's different. Pasindu. Microservice means, let's say now you are developing your Java application, right? Let's say now we are going to develop, as I already mentioned, that library system. In that library system, we are having different modules, right? Dividing big API into small APIs. Yeah, that's the concept, Tilakshana. So what we are doing is, we are having a, let's say now we are developing our library system, library management system. In that library management, we are having login controller. So you have to log into your library and you can view your books and you can give that book to students. So those are different services. For those services, we can create different controllers. So that's what we are dividing our, normally in the previous days, that in the sense 10, 20 years back, we had the monolithic application. That means we are having one application. That it's a huge application. If you want to change, you have to deploy that total application, total system. But if you take about microservice, what we are doing is we are taking a small component, let's say login, we are having that login controller. If you want to change that, or if you are changing some controllers in that one, you change that one and you deploy only that login controller. Other booking controller or delivery controller, those controllers are separate. So we don't need to touch those controllers. So that's the concept behind this microservice framework. So these are the things we have to learn, let's say in any language. So if you take about Python, that also we need these controllers.